Here's a question for you. Why is it that in our modern world of the dollar and capitalism and science, objectivity, rationalism, post-enlightenment, whatever, why is it that we have art? Is art efficient? Is art optimized? Is art beneficial to the economy? There might be something there. Here's another question. Why is it that every single time someone mentions a popular, whatever, movie, artist, music, anything, first question, what is it? What is their net worth? How much money did it make? Why are we so concerned with that? Maybe art does play a role in the economy. It generates a lot of money. But why does it generate a lot of money? Like, what about art makes us pay for it? Why would we pay for it? It seems totally separate from this well-oiled machine that rationalism, neoliberalism, capitalism, etc. wants to create. The reason, like, the people that want to make AI, ironically, AIR is one of the first things that has been made, but ultimately want this future where everything is white, everything's bleak, everything is exactly as it needs to be. I mean, pick your dystopian novel, that's pretty much what it is. The color has been drained out of life because the color doesn't provide any value. Why would you pay for the paint when that's going to affect your bottom dollar? And yet art exists. And I think at the end of the day, art exists because art is human. And try as they might, our capitalist overlords and our CEOs and whatever, the people in charge that want to optimize the life out of everything, they can't separate humans from art. They can abuse art to get more money, but they can't remove it. And it's like, what about art is so intrinsic to humanity? Why can't it be separated from us? And at the end of the day, I think it is genuinely one of our strongest instincts is art, creativity, and expression. And lastly, also, which I'll touch on in this video, storytelling. Let's talk about beavers. Beavers are so fascinating to me because they are an amazing example of instinct. A beaver does not need to be taught how to build a dam. Now, a beaver can learn how to build a better dam by mimicking their parents and learning from that method. But a beaver will hear the sound of running water and will just start putting sticks together near it. And they're very attuned to the sound of running water, and they'll just start constructing the sticks based on that sound. How can a creature have that type of innate programming? Instinct is so fascinating to me. So what are human instincts? There are great videos online that talk about the human instinct to explore. I'd highly recommend just doing a quick Google search and seeing if you could see something on that. But there are so many more instincts that humans have. There's an instinct to be social and be in community. There's an instinct to have a tribe. There's an instinct to rear your children, right? People will explain, not that I can speak from experience, but when they hold their child for the first time, they just feel this overwhelming love for them. And they feel this need to look them in the eyes and have these long moments where they have this deep connection, this attunement with their child. And there's nothing in the rational mind, there's no instruction manual that, you showed up in the world with that said, you must do these things. It just happens. It just happens. And art and expression are one of those things. Humans absolutely need to express themselves. They need to, and I couldn't even necessarily tell you why. Is it really happenstance that humans just develop this need for self-expression and discovery in invention and innovation and creativity? I don't think so. I don't think it just happened to be that case. But at the end of the day, it is one of the major things that have made humans so successful on this planet, is the fact that we have, since our earliest ancestors, found ways to interact with our environment and each other through means of expression. It's why we have language. It's why we have writing. It's why we have art. It's why we have music. And you look at all these things that they still exist today. If aliens were to come to Earth, you know what they would say? They'd first say, why do you have so many bags? And then they would say, this world has the most developed music and art we have ever seen in the galaxy. Especially music, honestly. We have such an ear for music, an eye for art. It's intrinsic to us. You can just look at something. And maybe you need to go to art school to really appreciate the Mona Lisa to its full extent. I have no idea. But you can look at art and you can feel something. There's a connection there. You can listen to music. And if you allow it to touch your soul, it will vibrate with the sound of the chords. There's something about that is so innate to human beings. And I think everyone needs to have some means of expression. If you're not, you're just bottling yourself up. You need to breathe with your environment and with the people around you. And this is an innate part of being a human, is being able to have this membrane of like a flow, like think osmosis in cells, like this flow of like creativity from within you to the outside world, and this reciprocal receiving of creativity in whatever medium, doesn't matter. And I think that with this too, why are there so many books today? And why do they sell, even if they're poorly written? What is the commonality between all books, between all music, between all movies, everything? It's that they tell a story. It might be explicit, like Johnny Cash, like telling a story through music, or it might be very subtle. It might not even be remotely clear what it is. You read some obscure poetry, you have no idea what it's about, but a story is being told. And have you ever noticed that when you're talking with someone, the moment they say, well, there was this one time, all of a sudden, you're leaning in. All of a sudden, you're now waiting to hear what they're going to say next. Your attention has been focused. When someone starts to tell a story, something in us gets triggered, and all of a sudden, we become much more open to what they're saying. Stories specifically. Lots of books have been written on information, and they suck. And why do they suck? Because they lack stories. You could read a physics textbook, as I have read many, and when it's just pure knowledge, horrendous, terrible, so difficult to learn. Why? Because there's no human element. There's no story. But tell a story throughout your knowledge, and you'll pick it up like no tomorrow. You'll learn it better. Because humans were made to share stories. Why have humans survived on this planet for as long as they have? Because humans shared stories. Humans were not born with the knowledge of that red mushroom is going to kill you if you eat it. But they were born with the ability to hear from their elders a story of someone when they were young who ate that mushroom and died. And they remember it. And there is a strong penchant for oral history within humans. You might say, oh, well, written history is why we advance so much as a civilization, and that might be true. But oral history is powerful. There's something that resonates within you when you hear a good story, when you hear about these great myths. And when you meet a good storyteller, it's magical. It really is an incredible experience. My grandfather was a man like that. He used to be able to tell stories so good you would feel like you were there in the story. And that's mostly because of his ability to tell a story, but it would be ineffective if we did not have the innate ability to be able to buy into stories, to be able to be open to stories. Stories, in whatever medium, in whatever means of expression, they're a message, something. That is the core of humanity. That is the core of humanity. It's why we have survived as long as we have. It's why we've succeeded where other species have not. It's where one human might succeed over another. It's the ability to learn stories, to tell stories, to express themselves through stories in whatever medium that looks like. That is the key to humanity. That is genuinely the key to humanity, or one of the most important ones, in my opinion, is the fact that humans are able to tell stories and express themselves through art. So no matter what, as long as humans remain flesh and blood, and we don't have some sort of like chip in our head that tells us what to do, humans will always have art. In capitalism, in socialism, in communism, in the apocalypse, in anything ever, humans will have art. There will be music, there'll be dance, there'll be paintings, there'll be stories, anything. It will never stop so long as humans exist, because it is one of our most innate instincts. And so the money people might say, well, we're going to manipulate your art so that we can make a movie that's going to make us a bunch of money. And we're going to convince all of you that the value of art lies in how much money it makes, which is entirely subjective and completely based on opinion. But the real value of art is, what is the person trying to say? What is the person trying to say? And I would say that's honestly the most important thing. But the other piece is, what does it mean to you? Because at the end of the day, again, it's through the art that we learn. If you watch an incredible movie and it makes you feel something, and I hate to say it, but we move as a culture towards these very insubstantial movies. They might be flashy, they might be interesting, but they're shallow. They don't have the substance. There's a richness that comes from artists that really care about their craft. There's an essence that they put into it. It's not something you can really define in words. It's just a feeling. It's just the sense of, this person really cared about their craft and they put their soul in it, and you're experiencing that soul. And I don't feel that very often when I go to the movies or when I read books or things like that. But there are times I do. When people so eloquently explain or show or sing what they feel, and they carry on that story that they need to tell. It's their instinct. There's something really, really magical about that. So, don't let art die, not like it could, but be expressive. Say what you need to say in whatever medium you need to say it. Share your stories. Be open to receiving stories. Sit around a campfire or talk about it online or whatever. I mean, the campfire one's going to be better without a doubt, because there is a physical presence to sharing stories. But however you want to do it, just share stories and be expressive and show off your creativity in the way that feels right for you. And it doesn't matter if it makes money, and it doesn't matter who sees it. It matters that you share it. It matters for you. So that's all I've got.